this is Aditya from Just Tutors. In this video, we are going to learn about body movements. Today, we'll be covering two subtopics. The first one would be Introduction to Body Movement, and the second one is joints and their types. Now, talking about body movements first, we use different parts of our body to perform certain bodily activities. It could be sitting at the same place and doing something, or maybe moving from one place to another. We use different parts of our body to engage into different bodily activities. Like here, if you look at the think bubble, it says which part of the body are you moving when you're trying to write in your notebook. Now think about this. When you're trying to write something, which part of your body are you using to do that? Now the obvious answer would be our wrist and the fingers attached to it. Here we have considered animals and also taken into account the different body parts they engage to move from one place to another. Now the first one on the list is a cow, which uses its legs to move from one place to another. This kind of motion is termed as walking. Second one on the list is a snake, which uses its whole body to move from one place to another. And this kind of motion is termed as slithering. Slithering is basically moving smoothly across a surface. Third one on the list are humans. So think about which part of their body do they use to move from one place to another. The obvious answer would be legs that they use to move from one place to another, and the kind of motion they do is walking or maybe running or sprinting. Similarly, we've got two more animals on the list, birds and fishes. Try to pause the video and think about which part of the body do these animals use to move from one place to another. So if we talk about body movements, different animals can walk, run, fly, jump, creep, crawl, slither and swim to move from one place to another. Now Rahul right here is wondering why there are so many differences in the way that animals move from place to place. Now these differences could be because of the structure that they have and also because of the part of the body they engage in movement. He's also wondering about the movement in plants. Now you can always think about if the plants can move from one place to another. The obvious answer would be no. Next, we are going to learn about joints. So when it comes to joints, think about how do we bend our elbow. Now we know that it's not one long bone from the upper arm to our wrist. It is actually different bones joined together at the elbow. We can perform a particular motion with our arms because we are able to move it and bend it from our elbow. Now these kinds of points in our body are termed as joints. Take a look at the picture right here. Now these end points right here, which are shown as rollers, are termed as joints. These are the pivots from where we can move our hand and perform a particular motion. Like we can bend our arm and also our wrist. Moving ahead, we are going to learn about different kinds of joints. The first one on the list is ball and socket joint. Now this can be very easily explained when you roll a strip of a paper into a cylinder and make a small hole in a plastic ball and put that cylindrical piece inside the ball. Now try to think about the range of motion that the cylindrical piece can have. Now this kind of joint is called a ball and socket joint. We do have that similar joint in our body at the shoulders. Our shoulder blades right here, they act as this spherical ball which has a cavity inside. We can move the arm bone with respect to the cavity, same as this cylindrical piece right here can move with respect to the spherical ball. So we can say that the shoulder cavity that we have here is a kind of ball and socket joint. Next up on the list is the pivotal joint. Now, the joint where our neck joins the head is called a pivotal joint. If you take a look at the figure right here, it shows a pivotal joint. And this joint allows us to bend our head forward and backward and also turn it sideways. Now, this can be easily explained if you think of a cylindrical bone rotating inside a ring. You can also think about how a pivotal joint is different from a ball and socket joint. The third kind of joint here is the hinge joint. Now, these can be easily explained with the help of the hinges that we have at the end of our doors while we're trying to open and close it. So we know that the door can only move back and forth. We do have a similar kind of joint in our body, which is at the elbow. From the end of the elbow, we can only move our arms back and forth. Next up on the list is a fixed joint. Now, this kind of joint does not allow the bones to move. Think about your mouth. When you try to move your upper jaw, you're not able to move it, but you can still move your lower jaw away from your head. So, in a way, we can say that your upper jaw is fixed to the rest of your head, or maybe your skull. This kind of joint is called a fixed joint. Now take a look at these practice questions. You can always pause the video and think about answering these questions. Now the first one says, why can our elbows not move backwards? So think about what kind of joint do we have on our elbows. We just learned that it's a hinge joint, so it can only move back and forth. That is the reason we cannot move them backwards. The second question is about ball and socket joints, so I think you can answer this perfectly well as we have already learned about it. The third one is about whether which skull bones are movable. Now we've already discussed this one, that we can only move our lower jaw as the upper jaw is fixed to the rest of the head. So think about what do you understand better now. Thank you for watching this video. For more, please visit justtutors.com.